sharing our stories connects us. Listen and be connected. Join us for the Conversation meeting weekly at the intersection of community and culture. Hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. And here we go. It's Wednesday. It's noon. It's Wednesday the day after. It's Wednesday the first day of. You're listening to the Conversation on WMNF Radio 88.5 here in Tampa, Florida, serving the greater Tampa Bay community, about 7 counties wide. How you feeling today, Joe King Carter? I'm seated alongside my broadcast partner. He's dressed and ready to go.
Good afternoon. I'm wearing black, as Johnny Cash did, for those we care about in the world who have suffered. And I'm wearing a white cap for hope.
There you go. They got to keep hope alive, my brother.
Right.
Got to keep hope alive. And boy, this morning, hope is on the ropes.
Oh, hope is on the ropes. Yeah,
hope is definitely on the ropes. So,
yeah.
I would ask you, this is about the time every week when I ask you, hey, Joey, what you got going on, man? What happened in the last week? Well, what happened in the last 24 hours to you, my brother?
Well, I've had my concerns all along that this outcome could occur.
You did mention it to me last week before we left the studio.
Absolutely. I had a concern.
I was having none of it.
And that's right. And you were because you're passionate and you were committed. And that's fine. That's actually great. But maybe it speaks to my lack of commitment at levels. But I was very concerned that this would happen. And because of I'm not a political analyst, but because of my observation over a lifetime of the way that politics in America works, and national politics particularly, and the party system we have.
Yeah, you had a feeling this might happen, Joe?
Yes, for lots of reasons, and it's too much to unpack here, maybe.
No, we've got an hour, and it's our show. So what did happen, Joe? What did happen? Because you're referring to things happening. I'd like to know what did happen.
Well, I think if you unpack all of it, first of all, you have to certainly see that we are in a unique place and time where the media construct is never like it's been before, or is, how did I say that? And they are, we have the corpocracy. We have corporate powers that are running a lot of our culture, and unfortunately, we seem to be shy from regulating. We don't like regulations, which is probably the only way to get control of some things. And we have an entire system.
But how are you feeling, though, Joe? Are you feeling okay? I mean, because I can't get over this profound sadness that is overwhelming me. It overwhelmed me this morning. It's still it's not a patina. This is something that I've been hooded this morning with grief, with sadness. I don't know if anybody else out there feels the same that I do. You keep mentioning, excuse me, I'll get this out. I haven't had a good cry this morning. Maybe I'll have it on the air today. Because, this is I believe Alice in Wonderland fans would refer to this as through the looking glass. I don't know that we've ever been here before in the...
we have definitely never been here before.
249 years of this great country of ours that we all love and wanted to protect.
Yes.
I don't know that we accomplished that last night, to be honest with you. I think that we don't know what we've done. This is one of those, a drunk hangover next mornings when you realize that you actually destroyed, the room that you were living in, the house that you were living in.
Yes.
You had a hell of a party, man.
Yeah.
Hell of a party. Waking up this morning with bottles all over the room. And
now you're ashamed of what you did.
Yeah, and now you're wondering what you did.
Well, let me just say... Okay, if you want to really get real, Mario, let me say this.
I do. This could be our last show, Joey. We don't know where this is going to end up. I promise not to break any FCC rules today, but my grief and my despair is and almost sense of dread and hopelessness is all over me right now, brother.
Well, let me just say these things. If I said what I really want to say, we would be off the air, so I can't do that.
Okay, don't do that.
So that's number one. Number two, and I think that's a pretty human thing to admit. Number two, every person, we have to remember in our grief and with this kind of, let's call it trauma, that everybody deals with trauma in a different way. And yes, there are these trauma expert observations that have to do with denial, anger, grief, dealing, all these things. You know, it's all going to come at us fast and furiously now over the next hours,
48 months,
days, weeks. It's going to come at us very, very hard, and we're going to be trying to figure out what it's all about. And yes, I think that I am, I don't know what state I'm really in. I don't know that I've really gotten angry. I'm not sure that's how I deal with things anymore. But I will say that the greatest part of my being says, whether this is appropriate for now or not, we got to pull ourselves together. We got to turn lemons into lemonade. We've got to make the best of this run, and that's what we've got to do. Ultimately, we will do that.
I'm glad you're positive. I'm glad you're feeling as chipper and as spry as it sounds like you are, because I don't know that we can get there from here. We don't know. That's what's leading me to my grief and to my darkness this morning, because we don't know. We have been given the foreshadowing. The experts have told us what we would do by electing Donald Trump to be the 47th president of the United States, sans guardrails and without people around him that can at least talk him down a little bit. This is going to be devastating for the Ukraine. This is going to be horrific for Gaza. It ain't going to be good for people in this country that think that they're satisfied with their present place. I just wonder, they're pinning the tail on the donkey this morning as they're doing the postmortem, and they're realizing that the demographic that pushed this over for Donald Trump was Hispanic males.
Yes.
Hispanic males handed, and I'm assuming the women that love them, handed this victory to Donald Trump. And not only did he win the popular vote by over 5 million votes, but certainly the 270 electoral college votes as well. The House is in peril, and the Senate is firmly in their hands. We are in some deep, deep, dark waters.
I think that it would be fair to say that we are going to find out what it's like to be a Soviet citizen of Russia in a short period of time. But having said that, this Latino Hispanic vote is intriguing, because the Donald Trump significantly insulted and abused Mexican
right
people.
out of the box.
Right out of the box. And then, more recently, Puerto Ricans. And I find that so interesting that, but of course, one of the lessons in this entire experience has been that how often people seem to vote against their own self-interest.
Yeah, and I don't believe that it's been discovered or we've delved into it deep enough, but there's got to be some psychology there involved with, people who leave a country, speaking of Venezuela and Cuba, they leave a country where there is a dictator, a strong man, and it's an oppressive and horrible situation, and yet they come over here and experience the liberty and the freedom that you have here in the United States, at least up until today, or January 20th, better said, of 2025, and yet vote against their best interest and vote for a man who represents all of those qualities. So that's the great unknown. We don't know how this is going to turn out. We hope, I guess the only hope that we have, and I'll start here trying to rebuild my sense of where I belong in this society, is that maybe, just maybe, because he is such a pathological liar and everything that comes out of his mouth is mischief and nothing but lies, fabrications and lies, that maybe some of the things that he's been saying he'll do, he won't do, because those are lies as well. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Well, yeah. I think, again, as I said at the top,
lying liars and the liars who love them. I don't know what that means.
There's a great deal to unpack here, and
yeah.
I mean, part of what contributes to all this is that I was noticing last night that some of the numbers that Trump was experiencing in his gain, were very similar to 2016. He was running against Hillary Clinton. This time, he was running against Kamala Harris.
Misogyny is the hallmark, I think, of
This is part of that
the
mix,
United
isn't
States.
it?
Yeah, it certainly is, and I don't think it's even.
But is it the United States, or is it kind of in a part humanity? Because really, men have run most of everything for far too long. And what happened when you look at major religions, major political parties, major governments, whatever it may be,
it's always a man at the top.
This is often the case, and I think that there's something to address there, that how people feel about giving that power over to women, and
willingly.
I hate to oversimplify this,
or
but
not
I think
willingly
it's there.
to women. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I think that needs to be addressed, because if you're going to be a civil society and you're going to beat your chest about being the beacon for the rest of the free world, this flies in the face of that anthem, right? And
Yes.
what is it about? This isn't even. You can talk about the fascism all day long, and you can talk about the racism all day long, but this is more about women. What is it about our culture that we have a hard time with allowing women to lead us? And I think it's listen. You can say what you want to say, but there was nobody more qualified than Kamala Harris, and an agreement can be made between us, Joey, that maybe it wasn't Hillary at the time. Maybe she came with too much baggage. And, I've been listening to the shows this morning and reading and hearing everything. And
But
Kamala,
also preeminently qualified, by the way.
and was going to restore the rule of law, which is what I heard on the previous show here earlier, a caller calling in saying that their profound sadness is, yes, I mean, this is a pall over America, in my opinion. I know there's others that are, they're jumping this morning for joy. But those are the people that are going to regret that here, I believe, in not too distant future. But we have to come to a reckoning that people in general are bad. We're bad. We're bad. No. We're bad. And you laugh. I'm deadly serious.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
I don't believe. Listen,
We're bad and good.
I don't know. Where's the good?
Well, there's
So
good
you
there.
tell me that we're going to appeal to people's better angels. Where are the better angels today? Where are the better angels today?
Right. Well, you're feeling this right.
They're off the field, pal.
You're feeling.
They've left the building.
You might be a little angry.
No, I'm not angry. I'm sad. I'm sad for my country. I'm grieving. I'm grieving for our country.
I think that people are more better than good. I mean, more better than bad.
51-49, pal. 51-49.
I understand.
And it depends on how that
But
coffee
keep in
turns out
mind-
this morning.
Keep in mind that American voters, particularly low-informed voters and low-educated
And who are
voters,
those people?
Those people are people that are often going to vote their interest only.
Right.
And they will not care about your interest. So if you are someone who is low-informed and you think that this is all about the economy, that's it, and you've been convinced by the media that Donald Trump will put more money in your pocket, all of the things about people of color, people,
Women.
LGBTQ, all of that will go by the wayside because you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
This is certainly.
So moving forward,
I wouldn't say when you use the word how many people are bad people.
Yeah.
I would rather frame it in how many people are selfish people.
Ergo bad, because there's nothing good
self-preservation.
about being selfish. I mean, come on, you're telling me that, selfishness is good, greed is good. What are
No,
you, Gordon
no, I didn't
Gekko?
say
Is this Wall Street? I don't know.
I didn't say that, but
Okay.
we are selfish.
Yeah.
We are selfish,
And
and we selfish. To be
Not in my backyard, brother.
to be selfless.
Yeah.
Is a quality that we admire because, unfortunately, it's not the norm. To be to preserve self,
Right.
is how we have survived as a species.
Where's Howard Beale when you need him, right? Where's Howard?
I understand.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. So that's where we are this morning. That's where we are this morning. We've got callers. Well, we had a caller. I was just going to go to him. He was going to talk to us about trauma because a few shows ago we did a show on trauma that was after the hurricane, and I guess we're feeling the trauma again today. And that's another thing. We can't get up off the mat. You know what I mean? We get hammered. We get a hurricane that breezes by us and floods us out. We get a hurricane that comes by and blows us down. And now we get another hurricane that's probably going to destroy democracy as we know it. And if you think that it's not going to be that way, or if you think that you feel like I do this morning and you want to share some of your thoughts, some of your grief with us, because
Please call.
I'm grieving. Please call so you can shut me
And
up.
by the way,
that's why Joe said that. No, Joe.
Yeah,
we
please call.
we want people to call. I'm going to give you the number now. It's 813-239-9663. You can send us an email. I'm sitting here waiting for the emails to come in, and boy, they're going to come in now. DJ@WMNF.org.
And by the way,
Or maybe nobody's listening out there and nobody wants to call.
Well, maybe there's a lot
which is fine because we've got a microphone and we're going to let it out today in the next 40 minutes.
Let me also say that if you follow our show, you will notice that we don't have a guest in the studio today. The reason for that is because you and I decided, because of the events of the election and because this show airs right on the heels of that moment, we decided last week that we would not have our guest and that we would take calls because we were thinking that there would be a lot of engagement on the part of our community. And in a way, it gives an opportunity for you to be the guest, for you, the caller, for you, the audience member, to be the guest. And so please call in. And if you'd like to vent, if you'd like to mourn, if you'd like to grieve, if you'd like to gloat, well, we'll try to deal with that. But the point is, please give us a call.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, Joe. And just let me remind the audience that I sit a lot closer to the disconnect button than Joe does. So if you're going to call and gloat, probably not a great idea to do that today. If you want to call us and share some of your thoughts, the local electeds, we lost some of our local. The blue wall didn't hold. The red wave seeped through. It just says a lot about our nation and where we are presently. This whole thing, America First, you got to go and read Project 2025 because that's going to be rapidly upon you. Those people that, again, came here from Venezuela and Cuba, get ready, Papa, because this is going to flip on you and it's not going to be pretty. Florida's a bad state for all of this because we've got a governor that's bent on carrying some of these policies out.
First they came for them and I did not care. Then they came for me. So, yes, it's going to end up impacting everyone. Another part of this conversation that we're going to be having over the next hours, days, weeks, months, and years is it's very easy to be very angry at the GOP, let's say. There may be the Republican Party. But maybe there also needs to be certainly a lot of conversation about what we as those of us who might be on the other side of that to improve our party or improve our approach. And I think you're right. I think there was some the blue wall and all this thing you're talking about. I think there was a dropping of the ball in some significant ways.
Yeah, we certainly have some introspective conversations to be having with each other soon about where we want to go. But again, I didn't see that any of that was a problem. I didn't really see, and I'm not being Pollyannish, but I thought that Kamala Harris had a great message. And it was a message of unity. It was a message of turning the page. It was a message of, let's see how we can make this better for everybody. It was resoundingly rejected. So that's not something that people want, apparently. People don't want to feel better about each other and themselves.
I'm not sure.
Apparently,
yeah.
How do you make? I mean,
yeah.
The verdict is in. The jury has spoken. Pal, we don't give a damn about that.
Yeah. So, Pennsylvania was a tough state. But you can go down a long list of what the Democratic Party represents. Does it represent the working class anymore? Apparently, there's some problems there. I mean, what is that? What is happening there? There's just a lot of things that have to happen. When you're in a battle like this, it's not so much you not being aware of your own issues. It's not understanding your opponent. And this is this system that has been developed of being someone who can say anything he wants, and people buy it because of
misinformation. We know, Joe.
Of being a cult of sorts. That stuff is strong. That's very strong.
And we can talk about the intelligence quotients behind all of that as well. Let's go to one of our callers. We got callers calling in already. We thought they might. Hey, Dean, you're on the air. Tell us what's on your mind.
Hey, guys, can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
All right. So, appreciate the opportunity. Thanks. You asked me to share thoughts and feelings. Here I go. I went to bed depressed. I woke up depressed. I got on with life because I don't have a choice. I could sit around and feel sorry for myself, but what good is that going to do me? What good is that going to do anybody? You mentioned we're going to know what it's like to live in a Soviet state. Can't accept that. We all have to get off our butts and stop being complacent. And that starts with Amendments 3 and 4.
Correct.
Clearly. Clearly, more than 50% of Floridians want legalized marijuana, and they want to protect a woman's right to choose. But we live under a system where those amendments require 60%. Whatever. Here's the thing, folks. You keep electing the legislators that are against what the majority of you want. That's on you.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, Dean. In fact, you don't see me here in the studio. I'm standing and applauding because, elections have consequences. We say that from time to time, and it's never been more clear than right now. Also, if you don't really get outside of, what is your number one issue and maybe have a little bit of empathy for other people that are dealing with other things, I thought that we had the message. Our messaging could have been a little bit better earlier on, but really and truthfully, she closed. Everybody was telling us that this is going to be good for America. This was all set up to turn the page literally, and now we've gone back to a dark period. But Dean, we've got other callers. Man, listen, that was prophetic.
Dean, let me just say real quickly.
Dean,
thank you so much, and well done. You spoke as a survivor, and also a grassroots understanding of how things work. It's got to all come from the bottom up. That's how we got to get there.
And we'll pick ourselves off the mat. There's no doubt about it, because we are a tough organism.
I appreciate Dean's comments.
Humans are always leaning into it to try to get better and better.
Absolutely.
But today I'm a little sore. And so is Dean. And so is Dean, apparently. Hey, Jeanette and St. Pete calling us. We want to talk to us about the election. Let us know what's on your mind.
I'm just disgusted. I think it's just unbelievable that Florida just went. I mean, single thing that I voted against passed. So I just am like, what's happening in this world and in this state and in this country? It just seems to me like we've become so greedy, and we've become so money oriented, and it's all because we have a man up there who pretends to want to make everybody rich and fix the economy overnight. Like, that's going to happen. I mean, I'm worried. I'm seriously worried about the next 4 years, but I don't know if we're going to end up with Vance as a president, because I don't know how much longer Trump has. But I just think we've turned our country into into
what they criticize the people that come here, their countries, they're escaping that third world dictatorship country, and now we are on the precipice of some really, really hard and dark times. I mean, I don't know how else to phrase it, and they've been telling us this.
I think if you're thinking about any other countries besides this one that need our help, they're doomed. I mean, the ties that Trump has to Putin,
and Leon Musk, as he calls him, Leon Musk also has some pretty good ties to Putin. I mean, I feel for the people in Ukraine. They're going to get wiped out. The people in Gaza are going to get wiped out. This is,
of course.
And by the way, it's
like all these people that wanted to diss Biden for helping Israel, they're making their lives even worse now.
Now, this is nothing good can possibly come of this, and again, I'm not trying.
I can't even see a silver lining.
No, my love, because you know what, we were told this 2 weeks ago last week when we had Mike Norton on the show with us, who is a wonderful actor, a wonderful human being, and he told us in the parking lot afterwards, because we were all commiserating. Well, we're about to find out what kind of a country we are, and he told us before he left, he said, if this doesn't work out right, there will be no dawn. There will be no dawn. It's just going to be darkness. And I feel, if somebody wants to,
darkness slowly growing and growing and growing since I've lived in the state for a really long time.
Sure.
And I've seen the fascism, I've seen the distrust and the evilness of people. It's just growing to a point where I'm like, I'm leaving the stage.
Jeanette, that's why I said to incredulously to my broadcast partner Joe, I said, Joe, we're bad. We are bad, and we don't want to say that, because that's
and we want to walk around and say how great we are.
There you go. But when you vote and you express your voice, and this is what comes out, what are we led to believe?
Well, you know, Jeanette,
Wait,
Jeanette, you
yes,
use
but-
disgusting. Disgust is definitely a feeling among those who did not get what they
Disgust,
voted for.
disappointed, depressed, all the
Yeah.
D words.
Those are the
throwing all
words.
the D words out there
Yeah,
today.
that's it.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad that there's somewhere I can call into and be real.
Ah,
Listen, we'll be here each and every week,
Thank you,
Wednesday at
Jeanette.
noon, unless the
Yeah,
FCC
but one more question
Sure.
I have for you. What do you think that Trump is going to do now to journalism and to the media?
No, see, well, that's
Is
what I.
be a Fox
he's already told us what he's going to do.
channel? Is every channel going to be Fox News now? I mean,
We're through the looking glass, Jeanette, and we don't know. That's what I
Yeah.
think
Worried.
leads us. That's what leads us to this consternation and this agita that we all feel this morning because we don't know. You know, and this is what's also very volatile about the stock market and about things like bonds and finance. Those markets are all predicated on knowledge of foundational principles that they can
Exactly.
count on that. If you can't count
there's no
on it.
stability now.
No, none. Zero, none. And the only thing we can hope is that because he is such a pathological liar that what he's
Yes.
telling us that he's going to do is also a lie.
Exactly.
I
And we hope
don't
that
think so.
He's not going to deport millions of people, but who knows?
Well, Jeanette, we love you and we thank you. And listen, don't
Thank
despair.
you.
We're hanging tough with you. We'll be here each and every week, and we'll try to claw our way out of this darkness. And with
Thank you, Jeanette.
With your help,
You're
we can
welcome.
do that. Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Woo. Whoopie-doopie. I just had a feeling this was going to go like
Jeanette
this.
represents
A lot of people right now.
Yes, many people out there.
So let's keep going with our callers. And I do have an email here. It says, my wife and I, this is from, who is this from? Martin Fouts. I guess I can read that, right? It says, my wife and I both worked the election in Pinellas County yesterday. This is a text exchange from this morning. Oh, they both worked the Pinellas County. It says, forgive me. This is text exchange this morning. Our precinct clerk, who is a very kind and capable person, and I'll try to get the rest of that. Oh, here it is. This is like, good morning. I can't speak for Bonnie Kessler, but yesterday was my last election, working or voting. As a lifelong Democrat, voting is an exercise of futility here in Florida. This is a state. This state is wholly owned by the GOP. After 36 years, I'm through here in Florida. Best of luck in the future endeavors, Martin Fouts. So, yeah, and a lot of people are feeling that, man.
That's going to be a response. A lot of people wanting to leave. Yes,
and leave not only maybe our state, but maybe even our country. And I like I've said before, jokingly, half tongue in cheek, that I don't care for flannel that much or fleece, and I don't look good in Gore-Tex. But I tell you what, if "Oh Canada" is a lot easier to sing than the Star Spangled Banner. So, and I do like hockey. I won't be honest with you. I like hockey. So let me go here to Barbara, who's been waiting patiently for us on the phone. Barbara, tell us what you're thinking this morning, how you're feeling.
Hey, Mario. Well, to say I'm disappointed is an understatement. I think despair is the word of the day. As a member of the Hillsborough County Democratic Hispanic Caucus, I can say firsthand that we worked our butts off. We worked and worked and worked for the past 2 months. As soon as Kamala got nominated, we were out there. We were on the ground. We were making calls. We were canvassing. We were doing every possible thing that we could do to get her elected. They had no ground game, as is very evident, because there were no signs, there were no flags. There was barely any media until the very last minute. The thing is that I am so discouraged by the fact that, number one, Hispanic males helped him to get nominated. That was the number one thing that was a flaw. And also, Joe, I just want to make a comment that you said that, yes, the Democrats have problems and we did this wrong and that did that wrong. I have to disagree with part of that, Joe, because I got to tell you, they did nothing. They did nothing. He even told people, you don't have to worry. I'm going to get elected and you're going to never have to vote again. They did nothing. They did not want a female black president. This country is never going to elect a female black president. And if we want to sit back and say, oh, we can do better than this, this is not who we are as a country. Guess what? This is who we are as a country. They made it very, very clear to all of us. And I just don't know how we go on from here. Where do we go next?
Well, that's a good,
Amen,
an excellent
amen,
point. And
amen.
and let me just say real quick, I watched some of that ground game up close, and I have no criticism of those people who have dedicated themselves to making this work in the Democratic Party. I just think that ultimately there will need to be in the long term some kind of conversation about what we can do to change towards something that we can become viable. Because right now, as we obviously see, the Democratic Party has become, at some level, unviable for our country. I don't know why that's happened. Its values are all mine, but this seems to be the case. And so how do you combat that? I don't know. Is it possible that you don't combat it because you have to become as corrupt as your opponent is? I don't know.
And vis-a-vis, Barbara, this is what I said earlier. I'll repeat myself at the risk of repeating myself. We are bad. We're bad, man. I mean, we don't. It's an indictment on us, right? It's an indictment on us because, we want to go to church on Sunday. We want to go to services on Sunday and espouse the virtues of being the better person. And then we do this. And so I don't understand how the evangelicals get away with it. And furthermore, I don't understand how churches are not taxed to the hilt, because if you're preaching from your pulpit to your congregation, then you got to pay taxes. I'm just saying. If you're going to be a political paid-for arm of the one political party or another, you got to pay taxes.
And by the way, another thing that I believe really should be happening, and it will happen, obviously, is that there needs to be a lot of analysis of the data that comes out of this race so that we know, because right now we're sort of taking a little bit of a punch at Hispanic males. I get it. It's obvious what they did. But there's also these other subgroups that we need to look at why. For example, there are a lot of women who voted for Trump. And we have to figure out why the heck that's happening, because my God, this is the person that's number one on the hit list of his enemy are females. No doubt about it.
No question about it.
Well, and I agree with you. But, again, I think it goes back to the all-American value of the dollar. And come on, let's face it. We all know Elon Musk bought this campaign. So don't be surprised to hear Vice President Elon Musk pretty soon, because he's going to be pulling the strings of that puppet, because that guy has no brains. He's an idiot. He's just doing what he's being told by the people who are controlling him. And how are they controlling him? With their money. And the American people just don't seem to care that he has no morals or values, even though they're evangelicals and the right and all that.
And don't forget Bobby Kennedy. He's waiting in the wings, y'all. He's going to go buck wild. Yeah. He's going to go buck wild on health and human services.
That's right.
He's just this is calamitous, and there's no other way to frame this. You can't make a silk purse out of this sow's ear. Barbara, we love you. Thank you so much for calling us today.
Thank you, Barbara.
The phones are lighting up, so we're gonna try to get as many callers in as we can right after.
Please do.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Right after the station identification.
I be Jose Gaspar, and you be listening to The Conversation with Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter on WMNF 88.5 Tampa.
Oh, that was the great Mike
I needed
Norton.
That levity right there.
Yeah, that was good. It made me smile. I didn't think I was going to smile today.
Yeah.
Although I may smile after I get some lunch, because I'm kind of getting a little bit hungry, Joey.
Maybe hangry.
Even in my despair, I am.
Are you hangry?
Even in my despair, I still got to eat.
By the way, I want to say real quick,
keep your strength up, y'all.
Before you get to the next caller,
yes.
I recently, for reasons of my own, I don't know, I'm like this, I'm weird. I've been doing a deep dive into Elon Musk. Like, who is this guy really? Because I don't really know. So I've gone all through the bio materials, and I've listened to interviews and all these things. And it's easy to say he's this or that, and we do those things. One thing is for sure, I have determined he is definitely a classic clinical narcissist, and that is part of the reason that he and Trump, ironically, you would think that those two elements mixing together would explode, but they are both birds of a feather.
Well, one thing Elon Musk has that Dementia J. Trump doesn't is money, and he needs that money.
Yeah,
he needs that money. So let's go ahead and go with Art, who's a member of our circle of friends from Largo, and he wants to share some of his thoughts today. Art, can you hear us? You're on the air.
Yes, thank you. Well, I've been voting, and I'll tell you what my age is about. I've been voting since 1953. I started with Eisenhower, and this morning, of course, I was shocked because I had a lot of faith in our people. I thought for sure it would be 55-44 for Harris, and well, I'm speechless. So I decided to listen to what other pundits are saying. What happened? And it appears that the Democrats lost because they kept saying how good the economy was when the middle class was suffering from high rental, high food prices. Some of them mentioned gas. Well, the gas is not too bad. But we have to take that into consideration, is that if you keep saying how well the economy is, and the people say, no, not really, you should stop saying that. And I think Harris did towards the end, saying, I hear you, the rent is high, and food is expensive. And another thing that surprised me extremely is that most of the pundits say that the Latinos voted a lot for Trump.
That's correct.
Something like 60 or 70%.
That's correct.
And some of them saying, well, that's because the male outvoted the female. They can't stand having a female as a president. And I think that is another reason why Harris lost. Also, racism is another reason. So there are many factors. And what's the solution? The solution is not to be depressed. I mean, that's about the worst thing we can.
Come on, Art. Give me one day. Just give me one day. I got to have one day to be depressed, Art.
I was just going to say, you're allowed to do it.
All right.
So let me ask a question. Art, let me ask you a question. You did not give us your age.
89.
You're 89, Art. You have
sounds good.
You have a great attitude, and I think that your wisdom at 89 is absolutely accurate. That we have to face this and be positive and not get depressed because too much angst is going to debilitate us. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100% with you. And also, we have to realize that these 33 states that listened to ALEC. I don't know if you're familiar with ALEC.
Of course.
They all followed the. By the way, look up the guy who's responsible for that. His name is Leonard Leal. Boy, he's a beauty, and he's not well known, but boy, he did. He's the one that's responsible for those 33 states.
Well, ALEC is writing our legislation for us now.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's why we lost, because critical thinking went down the tubes, and the American people just don't subscribe to critical thinking.
Thank you, Art. We're going to have to leave it right there, but let me just say, and I'm going to accentuate the point that Art just made. Just because you're literate, and I'm speaking to those that come here from the island, the big island that's 90 miles south of us. Just because you're literate, you can read, write, and do some good arithmetic. It doesn't make you a critical thinker. And when you come out of that system, when you're second, third generation being told what to do and how to do it and when to do it. That's just comfortable. That's a shirt that you wear that fits you nicely, and you abandon all critical thinking. And of course, when you don't have any means by which you can rise up and stand up, then you become supplicated, and that's what's happened here. And those men, although they are dominated by their women because they claim to love their women, apparently not so much. Apparently not so much.
Yeah. By the way, Art, you're a gem. Feel free to call in at any time. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Art, for your comments today. We should keep rolling here, man, because we've got some people that have been waiting for a couple of minutes, and we're trying to get to everybody today. Steve, you're on the air. You're from St. Pete, and we want to hear your commentary.
Yeah, first of all, I had never heard your show before. I don't listen to MNF much after mornings. And I want you to know, just like I've told the people at Sunday Forum and Surly Voices, that these locally produced talk shows, especially your call-in show, are among the best progressive media in any venue, YouTube, or any other channel. And the vibe you bring, the breadth of knowledge, and your honest speaking, and you're allowing your audience to call in and say things without censoring them or dismissing them, that's just so welcome, and I really appreciate it. Now, on to the topic at hand.
Thank you for your comments, Steve.
Thank you for having the show. Please market it. The topic at hand. I see an empathetic person like myself, trained in the New Age, psychology, counseling, motivational speaking, reading people's souls, so to speak, I got to tell you, America has been sopranoized. Americans have lost their moral compass. It's not about religion. It's about ethics and empathy. I meet so many people in all walks of life, black, white, green, yellow, all demographics, all income levels, who are crass, sordid, coarse, who admire Donald Trump for all the same vile qualities that you and I rightly say are wholly immoral, regardless of whether you're an atheist or a hardcore Christian. And we are surrounded by these people who, regardless of any other reason they voted for him, like it cost too much to eat or rent a house, they have not enough conscience, not enough sympathy, especially for women, migrants, the environment. They have a desire for evil. They admire a man who is openly our Hitler. And it is indeed, as you said earlier, in one of the few talk show hosts in any venue who's had the guts to say it today, it is a dark day for America, like Germany when Hitler was installed as chancellor. And we all who value the good of America, the progressive people, the so-called liberal people, we have to see what these people are and recognize that we have to make some spiritual choices about how we will or will not resist and what we will do to save our own selves. It is a scary time. Thank you.
Steve, thank you so much.
Steve, that's an incredible assessment of where we are, and I so deeply appreciate your words.
He left out one V word that came to mind as he was making such an incredible description of the day and the man himself. That's vulgarity, because the people that follow him down that path, they're all vulgar, man. They're all vulgar. They like to talk nasty. They like to talk down to people. They lack the empathetic gene. And when you give up feeling for your, here we go. They want to tell us, religious people want to tell us, we are our brother's keeper. Well, when you stop being your brother's keeper, when you stop caring about the guy that's next to you that doesn't have enough and he's not on good times, and you stop caring about that, that's when we uncouple the cars, and that's when we go into our silos, and that's when this thing all comes apart. You've got to believe in democracy. If you don't believe in democracy, if you don't buy in the rule of law, then you got the Wild West, Chief. And ask the Native Americans how that worked out for them when we settled the West.
Yes.
Yeah, we settled the West. What's all that about? Well, there's another settling taking place right now. And everybody who's not white Anglo-Saxon Protestant should be quaking in their boots, because this might not end up as well as you guys had thought.
Americans for a long time have had a love affair with the rugged individualist. And this is what
Cowboy.
This is what made John Wayne the icon that he was.
Yep.
And rugged individualism, as I think Steve is pointing out, would not encompass anything like compassion. There is no compassion. And so what we are experiencing now is, I think, a broad spectrum of individuals across our culture, as Steve is pointing out, that are not capable of critical thinking. They've not thought this out. They don't realize that their lack of compassion is ultimately going to turn around and hurt their society. They don't see that. And so in that situation, they are promoting, this is what I said in the beginning about selfishness. They are pursuing, they don't grab the concept of selflessness. And we have to, a society cannot function that way.
We've got some callers here that have been waiting for an excruciatingly long period of time, and we're going to get to all of them. We're going to ask, with just about 10 minutes to go in the show, that you make a brief statement, because
we'll talk less. You go.
Yeah, we won't offer so much commentary, because we want to hear what you have to say. We just ask that you kind of get to your point quickly and allow for the next caller to call in. While you were saying that, Joe, the thought came to mind as I was talking about the Wild West, and we like that rugged individualism. And I'm going to say something some people are going to fall off their chair when I say this, but because of the fact that we subscribe to misogyny in this world, in our country, let me just say that, maybe very specific, in this country, and we've proven that by following a man like Donald Trump down the rabbit hole. Are brothels coming back? Are brothels coming back? I mean, I know we have massage parlors now, but I'm talking about straight up gangster, legit brothels. Because if you're going to put women in that box, then that's what they did in the Wild West, right? Am I right? Every show that fancies Yellowstone or fancies anything having to do with riding that steel horse and building towns out in the West, they all had a brothel. Mm-hmm. Is it coming back, Joey? I don't know. All right, let's hear it for brothels, everybody. Okay, let's go to wow. The callers are just lined up, so make it quick. We're going to come to you and give us that rapid fire. This is Mark in Lakeland. Mark, please make it succinct. Thank you for holding, first off.
Yes, thank you, and I appreciate I like your show.
Thank you, sir.
But I was a lifelong Democrat until the last few years, and the Democratic Party has lost their way. And I think it was very obvious in the Oprah interview with Kamala. After that, I said, there's no way I can vote for that woman. I mean, she had her chance on national TV to prove that she was smart and she had a plan, and she blew it. Those are the things that ruin it for the Democratic Party, and the fact that they hid Joe Biden from being incompetent for the last 3 years.
Okay.
Those are the things. You talk about mistrust.
Those are the things that breed. Yeah, those are the things that definitely breed mistrust. And point well taken, Mark. I got to let you go only because we got seven other callers. But thank you for expressing.
Appreciate your observation.
And maybe we
Mark.
can win you back in time, and we can get you back into the Democratic Party, because we need two viable parties in this country, not just one. Let's go to Katira in Palm Harbor. Hi, Katira.
Hi. So my thoughts. I did vote for Harris, by the way. But my thoughts just actually kind of come from the Bible, because when, Jesus and then the murderer Barabbas, and they asked the people who they wanted to set free, and they wanted the murderer.
They wanted Barabbas, or Barabbas, as I like to call him. But either way, that guy got off.
Right.
Yeah, right. And then the weird thing is the Jesus that they believe in, and what they do, they voted for the criminal. It's like, I don't get it.
They voted for the criminal.
Listen,
yes, that's a great line right there. They voted for the criminal.
Thank you so much for your commentary, Katira. She hit the nail on the head. Right?
Thank you, Katira.
Because that's exactly.
They voted for the criminal.
Exposes the hypocrisy.
There it is.
Exposes the Katira. That was wonderful. Thank you. Let's go real quick to. Oh my gosh, the callers. They're coming hot. They're coming heavy. Randy, you're on the air. Give us your thoughts in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The Jesus that they believe in.
Randy, turn that radio off. Talk to me here right now.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready. You hear me?
I do. Just turn that radio off and talk to me on the phone. Thank you.
Radio's off. My topic is the economy. Anybody heard this expression? It's the economy, stupid?
Oh yeah, we've heard it all morning. Sure.
Oh, of course you did. Why did the Democratic Party not hear it? The fact of the matter is, and you can look it up on all kinds of sources, the inflation, the worldwide economic crisis hit in late 2021 and 22. Everybody in the world was hit by that situation, inflation. And if you look at the facts, the U.S. under Joe Biden did better in every metric in terms of.
Oh, we're still doing better, Randy. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to get to other callers. We're still doing better, but the economy, going to the store and buying eggs and milk and bread, is different from the economy when you've got investments that are growing and the stock market is good.
But who caused it? That's the question.
Yeah.
The Republicans were successful. The Democrats didn't say it was not caused by our administration. They never won.
I know. We have a messaging problem. There's no doubt about it. I think what we should do, thank you, Randy, for your call. I think what we should do is get Joe and I to be in charge of the messaging going forward, and we'll take care of this, brother. Because this reminds me of the scene in Patty Chayefsky's Oscar-winning screenplay from The Network. Not when Howard Beale goes to the window and he says, "I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore." Right. This is the scene when he's confronted with Ned Beatty's character in the boardroom, and Ned Beatty starts off with, "You have messed with the primal forces of nature,
That's
Mr.
right.
Beale. That's
right.
And I won't have it." That's
right.
What's happening right now. This is a reckoning for our country. Okay, we've got just a few minutes, guys. I'm coming around. This is Fred, and Fred's in Brandon. Hey, Fred, what's happening in Brandon this morning?
How are you?
Good, thank you.
I want to say that where we're going to go from here, because for last 2 years, I think Trump said that he wants to run for presidency. You started talking negative, and now that he's going to be president, you're going to continue, and you want to tell the people be negative. Instead, your show should give people some charge, not discharge. You're saying all these bad things about U.S., about what we're going to do. We're going to lose democracy and all these things. And you never mention the other side, what they say.
What's the other side say?
All the things that you don't agree. And then if I say it this way, I have only 30 seconds. If somebody continues the other way, they have 2 minutes. Just want to make sure that we have a president, and like when Kamala Harris said we're going to be joy and everything, so why not joy with Trump? You haven't seen anything.
Oh, we've seen it. We've seen. Listen, Fred, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we've definitely seen the show. Fred, I was alive 8 years ago. We all lived through that calamity that was. But listen, those are your opinions, and that's why we have this show, because it's about discord. But it is our show, and we kind of lean a certain way. And okay, Fred, I will call you back personally and take you to lunch if this guy changes his stripes, and in a year, 2 years, 3 years, we are all in a better place. And Gaza isn't flattened, and so on and so forth.
And thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Freddie. So let's go real quick. We got just a couple of minutes left in the show. I want to get here to Lenny, who's been waiting forever. Lenny, can you hear me? Lenny, can you hear me? St. Petersburg. Go ahead, Lenny.
Hear me? All righty. A couple things. 2 points. First, healthcare, then Gaza.
Quickly.
So on the healthcare front,
yes.
RFK says let's make America healthy.
Ouch.
We should chase down on that one really hard. It's the first even crack of an opening into this area in the American landscape of healthcare, and we should take advantage of that.
Okay.
Number two, you keep bringing up Gaza. It's been completely smashed to nothing under the Biden administration.
Yep. Yeah, well, yes, and that's for another time. We don't have enough time to get it. I'm not talking about Gaza being smashed by the Biden administration. I'm just talking about the suffering that people are going through. That's all, and the suffering that they're going through in the Ukraine, and the suffering that we might very well ourselves be putting ourselves in here in just a little bit. With about 2 minutes to go, let me get back here to Stephen real quick. I think this is Stephen from St. Pete again. Stephen, did you want to say something to us? Or is this another Stephen?
Yeah, no, Stephen in St. Pete. Yeah, real quickly. For the Democratic Party to be born again or reborn again like it was, you got to stop nominating Reaganites. Bill Clinton started it all, Reagan 2.0.
Correct.
Barack Obama ended up being 3.0. We were deceived. Joe Biden is the most right-wing president we've had since Reagan or Woodrow Wilson. So we had two guys that would have whipped Trump in a GE, Bernie Sanders and RFK Jr., and the DNC didn't want either one of them.
Hell, I'll go so far as to say Pete Buttigieg might have given him a run for his money, too. That's a smart fella right there. He's a little young.
He's creepy and log cabin Republican when you look at his views. He's another Reaganite. He's just different. But Bernie Sanders would have made a great president.
Yeah, I was on Bernie's bandwagon.
Jr., everybody hated because of the vaccine thing, which he was right on, by the way. No one wants to admit it. But we had people that would have whipped Trump. But the DNC is still the party of Reagan today. And it has to turn back to FDR, JFK, and LBJ.
Dale, we got you, Stephen. Thank you for that. That's probably he's probably closer to the mark. And what I hear him saying is, if you're going to go left, go left. You know what I mean? If you're going to go left, go left. If you're going to bring in an AOC.
Well, I grew up in an FDR type house.
Yeah, go left,
That was
man.
the politics I grew up in.
Don't wishy-washy. And I think that's also part and parcel what has happened to our country, that we went hard right. And here we are at the end of the show, Joe. So give me your closing comments in just a couple of seconds.
I think this show has succeeded for me today in a way that I hoped it would. People would be able to call in and express their views, maybe do a little venting, and we are going to move into a positive place and do the work. It's going to come. Right now, we're hurt.
Agreed. Well, maybe partially agree. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, you take that side of the argument. I'll take the other side of the argument. I'm just going to wait. I'm from Missouri, brother. You better show me. And I don't think this guy's got it. That's what.
This guy does not have it.
Well, I don't know.
You misunderstood my.
Yeah, I guess I did.
This guy has already said.
So we got to wait the 4 years?
He said you'll never vote again, and I'll be the last president. So this is where this guy is going.
So do we have to just keep our head down for the next 4 years? And
We just have to do the work, brother, and we got to remain positive. Otherwise, you might as well just give up and crawl in your hole.
Not happening. I got too much stuff to do. So we've got another election in about another 24 months because we're going to be putting a new governor in Tallahassee.
Yes.
And a couple of other seats that will be settled then. But that
Yes.
governor, it's an important position, too, in the state of Florida.
Oh,
so we
absolutely.
need to consider our choices when it comes to the governor coming forward. Listen, thank you, everybody that called in today. What a great show, Joe. Thank you for being my able-bodied assistant.
Hey, listen, it's my pleasure and my honor.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. So, everybody, thank you for calling in. You're listening to The Conversation on 88.5 WMNF Tampa. We'll see you next week.